bose tulive na kuyalelo devyo baye Amita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha Tana depochimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Abazunga wajita katongi Nakula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangwa umebaya Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Eti kume moku londolo la vale Lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseko wingi mwakwete Mwaya Mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatuleli laki Ukula bevyo watu dobuingi Ibisebo wapangiri obuingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Kutituwa na basiani Chagwa katuse
Hey! Hela! Mkwanda ile longa, siya kwa ile longa Tia nayo Wachimuti mchintalano Tia nayo wachimuti Aba vyonse ni nyuwa mayo Aba vyonse ni nyuwa 2026 sita tulefoya no kwangana Awe tulefoya katika wamano Harry Kalaba Aba vyonse ni nyuwa 2026 sita tulefoya no kwangana Awe tulefoya katika na vision Harry Kalaba Vyonse ni nyuwa Aba vyonse ni nyuwa Vyonse ni nyuwa CF ni nyuwa Vyonse ni nyuwa President ni nyuwa Vyonse ni nyuwa MP ni nyuwa Vyonse ni nyuwa Kanzotea ni nyuwa Vyonse ni nyuwa Awe kwena mule imwena ifintu mule tula Awe kwena tule imwena ifintu tule pitamo Nomba mwiza kama na mayo Mwiza kama na tata Harry Kalaba Fyonze mwewa kakontolola Isendi tumupotele Fyonze mwewa kakontolola Awa mbibali filwa Harry Kalaba so tungulule Zambia 26 tulefoya no kwangala Awe tulefoya katika wamano Harry Kalaba Fyonze ni nyu 2026 tulefoya no kwangala Awe tulefoya katika na vision Harry Kalaba Fyonze ni nyu Apa fyonze ni nyu Fyonze ni nyu CF ni nyu Fyonze ni nyu President ni nyu Fyonze ni nyu MP ni nyu ifi yalikosa mwewo wonse twalimona ifintu byalikosa moneni lotisheting yabena Zambia imwe bachula moneni dola ikwelelako feta iwela moneni akabunga itakabwela moneni fiwe ikwelelako feta iwela fertilizer naena awe daimoneka apa byonse ni nyuma na mayo apa byonse ni nyuma shitata apa byonse ni nyuma walumendo na makashana apa byonse ni nyuma 2026 sida tulefoya no kwangala awe tulefoya katika wamano alikalaba apa byonse ni nyuma 2026 sida tulefoya no kwangala awe
Good evening and welcome to today's broadcast. Please share the broadcast, share, follow and share. Fiance New says Harry Kalaba and his team at Citizen First. Today we are hosting on this auspicious day, Wednesday, 12th of November 2025. We are hosting Citizen First President Harry Kalaba. We want to understand the state of the nation from his lenses, the prospect of his political party in the 2026 general elections, his collaboration with the opposition, and the biggest stakeholder in this country is you, the voter. So share the broadcast. We are live on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Facebook. Share the broadcast. Let me invite Honorable Harry Kalaba. Honorable Harry Kalaba, welcome to today's broadcast and thank you for making time.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I've been looking forward to being here from the last time that we met. What an honor. Good evening, our viewers, wherever you're watching us from. It's good to be here.
You should make it regular. This is your home.
Yeah.
Tabatandala kunganda. So indeed, I'm glad that I'm hosting you today, and I'm told we are live on various TV stations. We are live on, I think, KBN, Millennium, and Revelation TV. Thank you for the preparations you have made, and I think this should be what it should be every time we host a personality. It's good that we reach all platforms, including, a traditional media like TV stations. So tell us, where have you been? You have been missing here, but I guess you haven't been missing everywhere. Where have you been? Where have you been?
Your Excellency, thank you very much. As I said earlier on, it's good to be here, and I'm happy that I'm on Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. I have been everywhere. I've been all over. We have a very tight program, given the time that we are remaining with before we go for the elections. We had drawn up for ourselves a robust program to visit all constituencies in the country, and I'm happy to report, sir, that we have made a lot of progress. I only came back in Lusaka some 2 days ago from somewhere in the countryside, and again tomorrow I'm on the road heading into another place in the countryside. So we want to ensure that we prepare, we tell our structures that now is the time, especially that we are having the voter registration exercise going on. Thanks to our colleagues in the opposition and ourselves and every Zambian who pushed that there should be an extension, given the challenges that people have been going with concerning the voter registration exercise. It has been tedious, especially in some areas that I've personally visited. People don't have NRCs, the materials are not there. The people doing the voter registration also are not really telling people where they'll be tomorrow. So it has been a tedious exercise, and this is what myself have been doing, trying to sensitize people on where they should be, where the ECZ is, they should follow them, and we're trying to take them there to ensure that people get registered. Because where I come from, they say, so an election is not won on the day of voting. An election is won way before the day of voting, and we are trying to prepare for that moment because it is now or never for our country. Yeah.
Then numbers, and you are right. An election is won or lost way before the election day, and I love that you're making preparations. The numbers by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, from their targeted 3.5 million, they've only registered, I think, about 500,000. And since we started this continuous voter registration exercise, they've only registered 1.2 total. The numbers are not looking good from their own target of 3.5 million. Since you've been in the countryside, what do you think has been the matter? What challenges have you found?
Some of the challenges I've alluded to, Your Excellency, are the very ones that I've mentioned here. I have said that one of the biggest problems we have had is that centers in the villages are far spaced. And so people have to walk kilometers to go to the next point where the ECZ is for them to register. And sometimes people have gone out, especially this season. The rains have just started. People are preparing their fields. And then just last month or the other month, people were also in the fields doing ifishimu. So they were not around. And so when we bring them out from the bush to come and register, you find that ECZ has moved from village A, they have gone to village C. And so people have to be taken that side for them to appreciate the process of what is happening. So really, ECZ cannot meet their targets. They can't meet their targets given these challenges that they are glossing over. 2 weeks ago, Your Excellency, you might wish to know that we did author a letter. Myself and my brother Fred, member of the Socialist Party, we did author a joint letter to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The reason why we wrote to them was that we were raising issues. I had shared some issues with my brother Fred. I was telling him that my experience in the countryside is that people are being disenfranchised and we shouldn't allow it. We did write a letter to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The ECZ did agree to meet us. I think within a space of 2 days after writing that letter, the meeting was convened. Unfortunately, I was not available, but the CF was represented by Ambassador Kasese Bota and our National Youth Chairman, Max. They attended that meeting together with other leaders of the opposition. And most of the reasons or most of the issues they raised were bordering on the fact that people in the peripheral, people in the countryside were being disenfranchised. It is not surprising that the ECZ has failed to reach their target because the process has not been properly arranged. They have not properly informed our people on where they should go and register. They have not taken the materials where they should be registered. Just is it some 3-4 weeks ago, I think there was a cry by Chief Mabumba of the Ushi in Mansa. He was crying that the materials for NRCs that were distributed in his chiefdom and in other chiefdoms were not tallying to the number of people that were in those areas. And we did raise this issue with the authorities, hoping that things would improve. So yes, even the 2 weeks that they have given to increase the number of, by increasing the number of days that people should go and register, is not even enough in our view. The ECZ should have been serious enough to understand that an election is a right. I mean, voting for national leaders is not a privilege. It is not something that the ECZ is dispensing to the citizens as if they're doing them a favor. It is not a favor they're doing them. The ECZ must understand that this is a pathological right. It's a right that is embedded in the citizens, and they should allow them to go and register en masse. But you find that there are no vehicles going around informing people that this is the center where they have moved to. They just move. The only ones who know where ECZ is going to the next place. Now ECZ we never sure. Others don't know. And so now we have asked our leaders in the various places to ensure that they follow these things through. Because the 3 days that ECZ is sitting at a particular polling station is sure not enough for our people in the villages, especially with the scanty information that is there. So we hope these 2 weeks we are going to do what we can do, but I think ECZ must take it upon themselves that if people don't register to vote, it is not even an advantage to the incumbent. It is showing the people that the people have lost confidence in governance, and it is up to the people in authority to also help the process, expedite the process, help the people go and register. In that way, they will feel that they are legitimately there. But if you've got a target of 5 million people, then you register 1.2 million people, you are doing a disservice to yourselves, because on whose mandate will you be running the affairs of the country? The more Zambians register, the better for all of us. We are sitting at over 20 million Zambians here, and if you have 7 million Zambians voting when the population is 22 million, you have not done yourselves right. We should strive even to have 12 million people register, 15 million people register, then we know we are on course.
Thank you very much. Probably you are being a diplomat. Leave the diplomacy to me. I would like you to hit the nail on its head. There are strong allegations that the ECZ could be conducting what is called voter suppression. The complaints in the NRC issuance exercise that preceded this process appear to have been bungled in areas where the UPND is not strong, Mchinga, Northern Luapula, Copperbelt, and parts of Lusaka. Came this current exercise, the same complaints seem to have pervaded, and the results appear to show, because of the new voters, 758,000 that they've registered. Let me just read to you. Copperbelt has registered 121,000. Southern Province is the second with 99,000. Eastern Province 90,000, Western Province 79,000, Central Province 73,000, Luapula 71,000, Northwestern 59,000, Northern Province 52,000, Lusaka 37,000, Mchinga 37. Now, Lusaka is the largest population in our country, total under 4 million people. And it has been beaten 3 times by Southern Province that has come number 3. Did you find evidence or complaints that there could be voter suppression where there were no NRCs issued adequately and the voter exercise was hampered by either the genset is not working, there's no ink? What did you find? On the other side, before you answer, is that we saw a visit by the ECZ chairperson, Mama Mangala Zalomis, in Western Province, where you found well-lit tents. There was an NRC being issued and the voters being issued, and she said the exercise was going very well. So are the reports in the Southern Province. Is there an exercise for voter suppression? Was that the foundation of your letter?
Yes, exactly so. And I'm not being a diplomat when I put it the way I'm putting it, because I was going to come to the jinx of the whole matter. Look, I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia has not behaved properly. And I think this is what we have all said about the ECZ. We have said it, and I'll say it here on this platform, that if Madam Mangala Zalomis and her team had any credibility to go with, they should not even be at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, because the ECZ is not an extension of the UPND, and we are not going to allow that. Obviously, I went also to check on the ground, and I've checked. I was in Mukushi, I was in Luapula, I was in Kabwe, I was in Chingola, I was in Solwezi the other time, and I saw for myself, not being told, I saw for myself that in areas where UPND is not strong, or in areas where the UPND think they might not get as much votes as they should get, the Electoral Commission of Zambia has not taken the requisite materials there. And this was the jinx of the meeting, as I was informed by my colleagues who represented me at the Electoral Commission of Zambia meeting. And my only advice to the ECZ is do what is right. There is no need for them to please the sitting gentlemen and women right now in power. If the way Mr. Kaimbe Ichilema is trying to patronize the Electoral Commission of Zambia was the way that the former regime was running affairs of government, Mr. Ichilema would not even have come into government. But the process was so evenly distributed. What is wrong with them doing that which is right? When he swore to defend the Constitution of Zambia, it was for him to defend the rights of every Zambian in every part of this country. How can he hear these complaints we are making and nobody from government has even made any statement concerning this voter suppression exercise which is going on. How can Lusaka City, which has got more people, in fact the greater Lusaka City has well over 5 million people who are inhabitants of this place. Now, if you have 31,000 from the greater Lusaka City are registering as voters, you are already having voter apathy even before you go to cast your votes. Now, this gimmick or this tactic of wanting to weaken regions where the UPND thinks they will not win as much is not right. I'm appealing to them on this program. The 2 weeks that you have done as an extension is not even enough, first of all. I think for me, because of the cumbersome way in which you are running the exercise, you should have allowed this to go even up to January. Because of already now, this exercise was introduced during the rainy season. It was also a deliberate ploy. You bring it during the rainy season, people have got challenges moving from one place to another polling station, and people are being systematically being disenfranchised. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has a duty to make sure that every citizen that is eligible goes to register. We are doing our part. We are asking fellow opposition leaders to also do their part. We have spoken enough here in Lusaka. We need to go out in the countryside because that is where unsuspecting people are being taken advantage of. We need to go and shout and shout and shout so that people can go and register to vote. We miss this exercise. We'll have missed a very fundamental part of the electoral cycle. And if we miss this part, we'll have missed almost the biggest issue. And so for me, it is important that we keep talking about this matter, all of us in the opposition, regardless of political affiliation. It's just important that on matters such as the Electoral Commission of Zambia, we remain non-partisan. This is a matter that cuts across all political parties' affiliations. And therefore, because of that, it is important that we make sure that our people know that there is the 2 weeks extension which has been done, and that we should fight the voter suppression that is happening in areas where UPND think they will not win the elections. Look, the UPND says there is no opposition. If there is no opposition, then why not extend a hand to everybody around so that we can prove to everybody in the country that there is no opposition? But if a Royal Highness can complain about the distribution of these kits, the scarcity of these kits that are aiding people to register as voters, then things are not right. We expected the authorities that be to take up this matter very seriously. But alas, it's not a big issue because they are going to show everybody, no, whatever you are saying, you are lying. And then I saw a screaming headline the other day. No, ECZ is going to expose liars who are not telling the truth. I'm yet to witness those liars that ECZ was talking about who are misleading the public concerning this issue of the erratic distribution of materials in certain parts of the country. The truth of the matter is that we need to be serious with this process. The UPND has to understand that this is a Zambian exercise. It is not a UPND exercise.
Dear viewers, we are hosting Honorable Harry Kalaba, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, former MP for Bahati and leader of Citizen First. You know, I was reading somewhere that's the fastest growing political party. He will tell us more about that. I will just go for a brief break because I want to sort out the volume. I've seen some online charts. They're saying volume for Honorable Harry Kalaba volume. So let's just clear that as we go online. Maybe, let me just do a short break as we sort that out.
Abba Fiance, you. 2026, see that you left for
Okay, wonderful. I think we could have sorted out the issue of volume. I love your feedback. People share the broadcast. We are hosting Citizen First President Honorable Harry Kalaba. He's former Minister of Foreign Affairs. You know, he's been an MP, well experienced, and today is on this platform. We'll be opening phone lines later, but let's just discuss the meat of the issues. Honorable Harry Kalaba, it appears it's a foregone conclusion that the state of the country, state of the economy is in deep crisis, thereby our people desiring change. Our friends on the other side don't think so. The UPND is very confident, very buoyant. They've commenced early campaigns for 2026 to have President Hakainde Hichilema re-elected. And so there are two sets of realities. A lot of people are saying he hasn't performed, he hasn't done well, then there's need for change. Others, because of the deep state of the issues of the country, are saying we actually need a second independence. What is your view, especially that you've been in the countryside?
I mean, Your Excellency, the truth of the matter is that change is coming to Zambia in August next year. And the UPND can say whatever they want to say. That is their business. If they are continuing in power, August 2026 will tell us. But I can tell you that by UPND bali wasula. Nobody is talking about UPND wherever we are going. Not because they have seen us, but it's because they came to power using a platform of lies. They came into power promising people that the price of meal was going to come down. They came into government promising that they were going to reduce the price of fuel to 6 kwacha per litre. They came to government promising farmers, my old mother in Mansa, promising them that the price of fertilizer was going to be reduced and that farmers all across Zambia are going to get enough fertilizer. Today people are sharing fertilizer. And if that's the platform people can use to vote for UPND back then, we are yet to see. Never in the history of this country have we seen load shedding which is unprecedented as we have it in this country. You have a situation where the minister even goes on TV without shame. Ministers we have in this country, without shame, he goes on TV and is telling the whole country that clap for me, you will now be having a steady supply of power for 3 hours. 3 hours. Not even in Gaza, where we have people fighting. There are rules there. Even wars have got rules. There are rules on how many hours power can go. But here in this country, you have power going for 21 hours, and that is normal. Is that what the Zambian people are going to vote for? We are yet to see. Anyway, if you have a landa, tichifolo chisuma, chifimba pamenso. Ichifolo chisuma, chifimba pamenso. So let them continue eating. Let them continue saying those who have got solar for 2 hours, they should not complain if they have electricity for 2 hours. They are playing with people's lives. And it is these kind of games that the Zambians are taking a lot of interest in. And when the right time comes, they will teach them a lesson of their lifetime in the ballot box. That's when they will know. Atama Zambians, tawaseke chimbuya.
Indeed, I hear callers here every day lamenting how we've normalized serious issues, the price of fuel, price of meal, price of essential goods and services. And the load shedding that has literally crippled our economy is a matter of serious concern. Let's get to the opposition. Even when we open phone lines, Zambians will be urging you to be united with other members of the opposition, that you should band together, work together, and produce probably one candidate. With your experience and where we are going, how much work are you doing as the opposition, and how much work are you doing individually as Citizen First? And what's your outlook towards the 2026 general elections?
Ambassador, look, we as Citizens First are doing our part, and we can only do our part. We are also urging other opposition groupings to do their part. All of us need to do our part. Our take as CF has been that opposition unity is cardinal. Granted, we agree. because that is the only way we can make ourselves more stronger. United we stand, divided we fall. But if this will only remain rhetoric, if this will just be to please you here when I come and I tell you, yes, we're in the opposition unity, and yet what is happening on the ground is at variance, it's not helping anybody. And we have reached a time ourselves in the Citizens First where pretense is not going to help us. We want to do what is right because we are remaining with only practically 6 months before we go for the elections. Nominations begin in May. And if right now we are still debating on opposition should come together, yes, opposition should come together. But while they are coming together, all of us in our individual political parties must begin doing the work. We must all go out. Maybe we can reduce a bit of meetings in Lusaka because Zambia is not Lusaka. And we are dealing with a system which is so cunning, these UPND guys, very cunning, that they will take advantage of our people in the outskirts, our people in the peripherals. And they will say, no, they have voted in mass like this because we have been busy arguing here on how we can come together. Ambassador, we were in Uka ourselves as Citizens First for 15 months. We were in Uka. We're a very pivotal member of the United Kwacha Alliance until the late President May so rest in peace. I don't think it can even rest in peace because it's still in the mortuary in South Africa. But until President Lungu disengaged and went and formed Tonse, we still remained there. What we realized ourselves was that maybe the growth triangle in these alliances was not as much as it should be. Because before you come into an alliance to even say opposition should come together, we should have done our homework. So our appeal as Citizens First to all our colleagues in the opposition is that yes, at some point we need to come together. There must be some convergence. If we don't come together by natural means, the politics of this country will force us. You go for an election, probably you will have a rerun, and in that rerun, there will be number one and number two who will have to go back for the rerun, and maybe the opposition will have to rally around the person who come number one or number two, if they'll be from the opposition, just to ensure that they win. But somehow, somewhat, we all need to do our part. Winning an election, as you know, Ambassador Mwamba, is not just talking and I finished talking here on this platform. So many elements that are involved. So many elements. I think if my memory serves me right, we have 12,164 polling stations. Now, those 12,100 plus polling stations, they all need to be manned so that the vote is protected. That is where unity in diversity comes in. We have to be talking to each other to see how best we can protect that vote. Because even if we campaign, even if we tell voters to go and vote en masse, if we don't protect the vote, come what may, we are dealing with people who are cunning, who harvest what they did not plant. So we have to make sure that we hold hands and ensure that we provide a formidable force. On our own, we are doing our part. I'm sure my colleagues also in the opposition are also doing their part. But at some point, convergence is critical. I know people say forced marriages don't work. But this is the time that we have. If we work hard, we come together, compare notes, where are the areas which are not good, which areas can we meet and agree upon. And from that perspective, we see more or concentrate more on areas of convergences rather than areas of divergences. What we need now is to look more at what brings us together than what divides us.
Wonderful. On issues of governance, human rights, and state of independence of institutions, as we've previously lamented, there was an incident in Chingola where the president was booed, stoned, and his security detail was forced to evacuate him to a helicopter, and he was taken away. Now, the ramification of that is that we've seen extremely dangerous rhetoric, first from the UPND, who are saying that it's time to unleash Kadarism. Kadarism is another word for political violence, and that core is being led by the Wengwa MP, Kasautu Michelo. And we've seen other videos, and you probably have seen them as well. We've seen dangerous rhetoric by the president himself, who said that if this is what they want, I understand this is what they want to do in next year's election, and that he will deal with the opposition firmly. That's talk. How do you regard it? And before I bring you in, I just want you to see these short videos.
Natumfwane mkwai
Varia who wanted to disturb us in Chungola, yesterday I hear they are planning to disturb the polling station Ninshi Kulefyo Barefwaya. When we won, I told you not to revenge, not to beat anybody. Bafire bale chindika. Mule umpaka? Bafire bale stashani? We protected them because you would have nailed them, eh? You could have nailed them. I protected them. They must not extend their lucky.
Honorable Harry Kalaba, it looks like both cases are regrettable. Both the incident where the head of state was stoned and he had to cower for his life, and the threats he issued. It appears Zambia has peace because of his word to restrain his cadres, and not because of the rule of law and our laws. What do you make of all this?
Very, very sad. Extremely sad. Because leadership is measured in times of adversity. That's why you can see who is a leader and who is not a leader. Let me start from the stoning part in Chuempala. I have not commented on this matter because I was just dumbfounded with what precipitated. I kept quiet, and just today I wrote a letter to the president on the same matter. The Chuempala incident, as you have correctly said, Ambassador, is regrettable. Stoning a head of state, the one who represents authority in our country, humiliating him like that was very embarrassing, not only for us in Zambia, but because the world has become a global village. I was receiving videos of the president ducking the stones from everywhere across the globe. And I felt embarrassed, not because I'm a Zambian, but I felt embarrassed that Zambia was finding itself in such a situation. Secondly, there must be a way of dealing with issues of that nature. I think when people feel duped, like they have been duped indeed by the UPND, when people feel duped, there are channels which they should follow. And rightly observed by many scholars, by many political analysts, the best way that should happen for our people is not even to throw stones at the president. The best thing that should happen is for them to go and teach him a lesson. Go and register as voters and teach him a lesson on the 13th of August next year. Because it's not going to help the matters. Kalamba is an elderly person. He's also the one representing the symbols of power in this country. And so just to show respect to people that are holding power, it's important. And I should belabor this point because I'm becoming president. I wouldn't want such humiliation to happen. And in the history of this country, it's the first time that we are seeing such a situation happen, where a president 4 years in power is being stoned. President Lungu, I think, spent 7 years I think it was just in his last 1 year or so. So 1 or 2 isolated instances of that nature. President Rupia Banda can't recall if anything of that nature happened. Vachiluva, Vakaunda also 27 years, it was towards his last 2 years of governance. Maybe 4 years, Vamila Samabwe, and then you're busy saying there's no opposition. So anyway, that incident was regrettable, extremely regrettable. But on the other hand, this must be a call to all of us leaders, that we need to tell the people we are leading the truth. If we promise people, we should not just talk the talk, but we should learn to walk the talk. If we give people empty promises, and we think we will heap empty promise after empty promise and get away with it, the people will have their way of reacting. So the incidents in Chingola was to a very large extent brought to the fore by the empty promises that were given to the people during the campaigns that Mr. Chilema himself was giving. Because the president was a star in conjugating lies and telling stories. He didn't understand, our president, that lies have got consequences and that promises have got consequences. And these are the consequences. So, yes, that was wrong which happened in Chingola, but also the volumes of lies that have been told to the people were not right. Now, the president the following day, that's the clip you have showed, goes to a meeting and he says, Ningumfuati mlefu to disturb the polling stations during the polling day. Again, the president is not for telling lies. Clearly, he's not telling the truth there. At what point, from the time that the incidents happened, Kuchu Impala, and the people are being pursued, do you think those people are given a time to meet and begin planning for the polls? It is the president who's conjugating that in his mind, because he doesn't feel, his skin itches if he has not told a lie. So he had to conjugate something and tell the public in order to excite the public. That is not the way a leader behaves in a time like that, because you begin inciting or you begin raising emotions which you should be paralyzing. If I were in his shoes, I would not even have flown out of Kitwe. I would have said, can I have those so-called Jerabos? Can I hear their complaint on sincerely minds? Can I understand what really they want? And I know he knows what they want, but was skittering around it. But it was important for him to face his people in the eye and tell them, this, colleagues, is not the way we should go about it. But for him to go on a platform and begin segregating those children of his and telling them that they would have nailed you, they would have nailed you. Where is she? Where is she? No longer and they feel without even shame. Because where is she? That one is the president of everybody. He cannot have that kind of audacity to begin telling people they would have nailed you. Shame. That should not have come from the mouth of the president. He should have even told his party functionaries by UPND. So many statements have come out. Fire the police. Cadarism now is back. When I saw that, I said, oh, we politicians are bad students of history, Ambassador. We are very bad students of history. Because what Michelo has said, I will tell you, we are going to use it widely. That the UPND has introduced cadarism in this country. They campaigned against it. PF lost power because of cadarism. And Michelo, coming from Wengwa, exactly where the president is coming from, I think he humiliates the president. He takes away everything that the president had promised the country, that there will be no cadarism. For him to announce from a constituency where His Excellency comes from, clearly he's telling us that he has heard from the president. The president has told him cadarism has to come back, and our people in Zambia have said no to cadarism. Because they have said that, the UPND will also be punished. Because there's nothing so special about the UPND that they should go ahead with something that the Zambians have called an abomination. And for them, they should tolerate it. They should continue embracing it. And we should just watch them get out with it. The same way the people watched when PF was going around with the same issues that the UPND campaigned against, is the same way the people will watch in dignified silence, waiting for the day to punish UPND, because cadarism in this country will not be tolerated, Zambians will not tolerate it, and nobody is going to praise it, but it will be punished. And the best way to punish it, has always been through the ballot box.
I wish to agree very strongly with your point, especially on the Copper Belt and Chingola, where he was specifically. He got some of the highest votes on the Copper Belt in Chingola because of the historical issues of KCM, being a bad investor for over 20 years, owing over $1.5 billion to major stakeholders such as ZESCO, CEC, NAPSA, suppliers and contractors. Then there have been a lot of issues, and he produced 2 MPs in Chingola, in Changa and Chingola. The disaffection now is highest from that same area. Why? Because the president seems to have turned back to the very reason they voted him for. They had hoped that he would resolve the issues of KCM. He has given them KCM back. Remember, in 2022, shortly after coming into power, the UPND government demolished over 300 houses in Kasumpe area near the Kasumpe airstrip.
And I visited
then the
area
issues of the
myself.
Jerabos, where they've been displaced by these arrangements, and we had one of the worst mining disaster where 35 people were feared dead. Some bodies are still entombed in those pits. Clearly there are issues and anger, like you are putting it. But let me shift you to the issues of political violence. What Michelo Wengwa MP stated and what the president stated, but there is also something that obvious Mwali Teta, former deputy minister and Lusaka province UPND chair, said, where he threatened the police, directed the police, and let me just play the videos that you can have reference, then you comment about them.
You start screening them one by one, but you get arrested too. HH wants to die. The president they're studying him, they want to kill him. You go and arrest 2 people. And you can convince us as UPND members. You want to convince us? Now I want to also to tell Bakangwa. It's not only the police now. Bakangwa, please scrutinize the civil service. This civil service, most of them, the president said they will change. They have not changed. They've continued. But I told you that the commander, the commissioner of police in the Copper Belt has to resign. He has to resign. I don't care what happens, but he has to resign. That's the fact. He cannot tell me the officer in charge of Chingola must resign. Yes. The OP, he must look. I understand these things. I was once a minister. There's what you call DGOC.
Alimi bali ku Northern Province, alimi bonse bali ku Northwestern Province. Today we have declared Kadarism has started. Kuzwa iji ndiba president ne bagajita declare no Kadarism. Kuzwa ni bagajita declare no Kadarism. Twabona kwamba kuti ba president babaderera alimi twabona kwamba kuti alo inka mubayiderera. Now we want to show them the way we are.
President Harry Kalaba, when you see those scenes where senior members of the party are threatening civil service, ordering the dismissal of police officers, and Michelo MP declaring countrywide Kadarism, another name for political violence across the country, just speak to those sad developments.
It's indeed a very sad time in our country. And what is making it even more sad is that I have not heard the president or the vice president or any senior official rebut the statements that Michelo Kasauta, my brother, who I was with in parliament, was making. Meaning that what Michelo has said has the blessings of President Hakainde Hichilema. Kadarism is back. Now that is anarchy. That is anarchy. if we had a police that was very focused today, Mr. Michelo should have even been brought before the police to explain what is meaning, because that is proposing or threatening violence. If it was Harry Kalaba who made a similar statement, the way Michelo did make that statement, Harry would have been appearing before the police, because that is the culture in this country. Then you have my brother Mwali Teta going to throw aspersions, cast aspersions on the secretary to the cabinet, Mr. Kangwa, a very accomplished person. And I think Mr. Kangwa is not there because he's UPND. Mr. Kangwa has been rising through the ranks. You will recall, Ambassador, that when I was deputy minister in the office of the vice president, Mr. Kangwa was my permanent secretary.
Correct.
And the reason they have kept him there is because the man knows his job. For Mr. Mwali Teta to go and begin warning Mr. Kangwa like that, and again, nobody says anything. You know that it is an offense under our statutes for anybody to threaten a government official. Mr. Mwali Teta should have been before the law, answering questions as to why he's talking like that, because he's trying to intimidate a government official from doing his official duties without undue influence. And there's nothing wrong with that. He goes further and he says the police will not convince him to say that they've arrested only 2 people when there were all those stones that were there. So it means there's no room for investigations. You don't give the police time to do what they know best, and the police should be put under undue pressure for them to arrest even people they should not be arresting because they should please you, Mr. Mwali Teta. These are jokes. These are proper jokes of the highest order. And all these statements have gone unchallenged. My only discernible conclusion is that these jokes coming from Mukasauto Michelo and from Mwali Teta have the authority or the blessing of the appointing authority. What more can you say? Because if the appointing authority has kept quiet, it means that is the line of thought that they have taken. But it is regrettable, because political violence in a country like Zambia, where we have learned to sit around the common table to deal with our differences, will not be the best way of sorting out each other. The best way to handle one another in our politics is not through violence, as is being proposed by the UPND. The best way is to sit around the table, compare notes, and see where have we gone wrong. If there was any leadership in Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, what he should have done after the Chingola fiasco was, he was going to call all the leaders around Chingola, not only the UPND leaders, even those he was saying on that platform, they would have nagged you. He would have also called them, because they are also part of his constituents. He would have called them and says, colleagues, can we harmonize our paths here? But typical of our president, he knows everything. He knows everything. And he will do things according to how he looks at things. Extremely sad, because he's proposing that path together with his colleagues in the UPND 6 months before the elections. Cadres are being told indirectly, harass anybody who is not UPND. And that is not right. That is intimidation, which will not succumb to.
Yeah, indeed. If the president himself, just the following day, was issuing similar threats, and then his juniors are issuing similar threats, it shows, a community of minds that probably are dangerous to this country. Honorable Harry Kalaba, before I open the phone lines, Citizen First, you've gone countrywide and across the world to speak to stakeholders about your suitability to run this country. What are some of the solutions you can briefly speak to that you think you can present to this country?
Look, we have talked about the biggest challenge we have had in this country is that the country is no longer in the hands of Zambians. The Citizens First, as the name suggests, seeks to take Zambia back in the hands of the citizens. And by doing that, we want to front-load citizens, kuntanshi, so that they are the ones who can begin dealing with the affairs of our country. In this country, major contracts are with outsiders. Even where you have a project that has been brought up as a result of Zambians contributing money, instead of allowing only Zambians to vie for that project, you go and give outsiders. When we come in government next year, that is going to change. Because where I come from, they say Chivinda Wabamba. There is no way you can be a hunter. You go and kill an impala in the bush, ambassador. You bring it in the village, and then you give others who are busy yawning and sitting all over the place to say, Nombanga kanyeni ko have killed, please. Munga kanye ko fia mala mumpele ko mala kwa tiro oluse. It means your brain is not functioning right. What we want as citizens first is to make sure that we give this country back by ensuring that these tax holidays they are giving outsiders, we give tax holidays to marketeers. We want to ensure that this business of giving big contracts to outsiders comes to an end. We want Zambian businessmen and women, Takwa Vechalo, which has got no billionaire. This country, Zambia, has got no billionaire. We in the CF have said we are going to create a billionaire in this country so that we can stop going outside. The reason why we go to ask money from other people is because Chinese, they talk. Only that you don't listen to their language when they are speaking. They do talk. Empower your Zambians. So the first thing you will do is to empower Zambians. The second thing we'll do, Ramwamba, is that we want to relook at the issue of load shedding. We as citizens first have said, the moment we come into government, load shedding, it's bye-bye. And people have said, how will it go? We have said, we are going to stop exporting power to Namibia. I know that the minister from Namibia came to thank us here and saying that without them, they would have been without us giving them power, the Namibians would have been in darkness. We are going to stop giving them power. I'm here on this program. We are going to stop exporting power to the we'll stop exporting power to Malawi. We are going to stop exporting power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement, because there is no way we can be exporting power to outsiders and we remain without power. 21 hours of load shedding, only 3 hours of productivity, and we expect the country to make progress. We also want to ensure that we recapitalize Indian. But before I come to Indian, just within the energy space, we would want to ensure that the nuclear power plant agreement, remember, sir, I traveled with the late Musiska to the Russian Federation. I signed together with my colleagues at Foreign Affairs, we signed the agreement between Zambia and the Russian Federation to have a nuclear power plant facility. That nuclear power plant facility which we signed had a lot of components. There was even a component of training young Zambians to go to Russia to study nuclear science. And the program started to train them to study nuclear science. The idea was by the time we are finishing the construction of the nuclear plant in Chongwe, we would have already trained our own people to come and manage the nuclear power plant. That nuclear power plant has the capacity to produce 20,000 megawatts of power. You, Ambassador, knows very well that at the African Union, there was a discussion of the Great Inga Dam in the DRC Congo.
Correct.
The Great Inga Dam was going to be producing 100,000 megawatts of power per day. And the whole idea of the Great Inga Dam was to give power to everybody else. When we heard about it in Zambia, we came back here and made sure that Zambia should have a great share of exporting power outside. Once we begin exporting power outside, or once we begin generating 20,000 megawatts of power, that will mean that the very core of citizens first, the definition of our party, is anchored on industrialization. Because we believe that you cannot talk about economic growth in the absence of industrialization. In the 60s and 70s, we used to make our own blankets in this country. We used to make our own boots in this country. We used to make our own shirts, suits in this country. That is no longer happening. We are saying one of the reasons as to why we can't do those things is because you cannot do that without power, without electricity. So we want to have enough energy to begin having our own industries sprout all over the country. 61 years after independence, you cannot have a situation where mukula tree, the whole log, is being exported to China, and the Chinese, our interests there, they begin making the bats for guns for you, they begin making that wood for bends for you from there. Those things must be made here in Zambia. And I have the privilege of having been elected as president of the Citizens First last year on the 7th of December. We will make sure ourselves, when we come into government, that we begin to industrialize this country. We finish that nuclear power plant facility. We'll have enough energy in this country, enough energy to export to the DRC, and they can come and thank us all they want after we begin selling them. Not now. So we are going to stop the exporting of power as soon as we enter into government as Citizens First, and we'll only start exporting power when the market is saturated with enough energy. That's when we can start exporting power. But remember also, there is this issue of fuel in this country, where you have people who are close to powers that be in this country. They are the ones who are being given all kinds of obnoxious contracts to bring in fuel, diesel in this country. The reason is that the people who are in charge, or the bosses of this country, they also want to have a cut or a share in those kind of deals. That kind of thing is coming to an end, because the reason why Dr. Kaunda created Indeni refinery was to make sure that Zambia can stock its own fuel and also process it there. And while processing it there, you are creating employment for your people. And while you are creating employment for your people, you are able to also have countries like South Africa begin buying some of your byproducts, like bitumen. South Africans used to get bitumen from Zambia, but now it is Zambia getting bitumen from South Africa. Liquefied petroleum gas. We had Tanzanians, we had Zimbabweans, we had Malawans coming in this country to get LPG. But today, it is Zambia going out, because we no longer can have those byproducts in the absence of us processing crude oil in this country. We have to move away from that, promoting certain individuals that we like at the expense of others. We don't want that. And another culture will bring in this country. Businessmen and women are not politicians. Please get it right. Businessmen and women are not politicians. These are businessmen and women. So this business of saying ababali yakale na PF, ababali yakale na ba MMD, ababali yakale na ba nani, the job of a businessman is to create money every time, to create profits. That's their job. When we
I'll check if I've lost my guest, Honorable Harry Kalaba, who's Citizen First President, who we are hosting. I will check, sometimes we have these power issues and we seem to have lost you, Honorable Harry Kalaba. Thank you. You are back. Please
here.
Continue the thought.
I was saying that I was saying, but I was saying, in this country, I'm a businessman. It is a culture for businessmen and women to be categorized as belonging to political parties must come to an end. Businessmen and women are not politicians. They are businessmen and women. So if you are a businessman in UPND, even when the Citizens First takes over governance, you are a businessman and will respect you as such. You will not be humiliated because you were saving Mudiba PF, you are saving MMD, or MUNIP, or Mudiba UPND. No. You are a Zambian, you have met the specs, we are going to allow you to deal without let or hindrance. Another thing that we will work on aggressively ourselves is the issue of agriculture. During the 70s, Ambassador, it is agriculture which revolutionized the Chinese economy. Just agriculture. Agriculture has got the potential to create thousands and thousands of jobs. This Zambia has not paid a lot of interest in that. Agriculture today has even fallen short of the Maputo Declaration that all all member states of SADC must apportion 17% of their national budgets to agriculture. It's not happening in this country. If you look at the budget that we had presented by Mr. Otwane a few months ago, only maybe about 9% of the national budget is going towards agriculture. We are going to change that, not only adhere to the Maputo Declaration, but we are also going to ensure that agriculture becomes key in what we are doing. Because we know that Zambia is blessed to have 8 countries surrounding us. We have all these 8 countries surrounding us. In my social studies growing up, I learned that we are a landlocked country. Now I know we are a land-linked country because we have got the SADC population, which has got over 350 million inhabitants. Then you have got the Great Lakes region, which has got about 150 million inhabitants. Then you've got Comesa. So all these populations put together is a market yearning for us to take advantage of. So for us as Citizens First, we will make sure that agriculture is interrogated. Not only growing maize, not only growing millet and sorghum, but will ensure that each region of this country has an opportunity to grow what it can grow. We will not just say farmers can farm mataba. If your mataba cannot grow in Kasama, we will not force them to grow Kasama. Our experts, that is why we in the CF are very strong on research and development, because that is the backbone of the country's economic emancipation. So we will ensure that agriculture takes its rightful position. Instead of just selling maize to the DRC Congo, for the last 61 years, abantu nga baperesha mataba, wawabunga, bambo kusha Congo at all they are smuggling there. It must be something that is fashionable for people ukushtisha obunga ku DRC Congo without it being called smuggling. Pantu, it is value addition. The amount of money a farmer will get selling ubunga as opposed to kumatabafi is much more. So we need to encourage that, and we'll encourage that. But also, we are in the business of telling everybody that we intend to set up fertilizer plants across the country. It's important that when Wakaunda was president, we had the Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia, which was doing fertilizer for our country. We need probably another plant in this country to satisfy the market, so that the farmers can stop waiting for fertilizer mu January, obalepoka D compound, mu February, obalepoka urea. It can't work like that. You can't go far like that, because even the FISI program is just a hoax. It has not worked as it should have worked. We are going to interrogate all those sectors because we understand how these things must work, and we know that a lot of employment will be created around that circle.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, it's your time. Make your cause. And Honorable Harry Kalaba, I love the point you talked about local businessmen who are criminalized, who are cast away, who are labeled. Like you are saying, businessmen are businessmen. They are not politicians. Where will be Aliko Dangote or Tony Elumelu in Nigeria if several governments that have come treated them like that? They will not be the billionaires there. That's a wonderful point. Callers, it's your time. We are hosting former Minister of Foreign Affairs, former Bahati MP, Citizen First leader, Honorable Harry Kalaba. Ask him your questions. What are your concerns? Questions.
Even if you are annoyed. At least this is a direction.
I'm also aware of the electricity problems that Zambia is facing. But despite the problems that we have with the supply of electricity in Zambia, you still supply us with electricity. Again, you would have said, we cannot sacrifice our power when we have shortage. But you still give us. Katima Mlilo town, where I come from here, is supplied with power from Zambia. When you have a power outrage here, we also have power outrage. But that's the brotherhood we are talking about, the neighborhood we're talking about. And
thank you. We seem to have the first caller. Caller, tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Oh, we lost that caller. Let's take the second one. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
James Kalaba. I'm calling from Kitwe.
James Kalaba, in relation with the president.
Yes, he's is my namesake.
I love that. Quickly ask your question.
Good evening, President Kalaba.
He can hear you. Thank you.
Good evening, President Kalaba.
He can hear you. Proceed with your contribution.
So for me, I just want to tell President Harry Kalaba, I follow him. I'm one of his dedicated followers. But what I want to tell him is that he should unite with the entire opposition. The entire opposition, they should unite and come up with one candidate. My biggest word is that citizen first and this one for Bamembe.
Socialist Party. Socialist Party.
Yeah, Socialist Party. Those two oppositions, they can divide the numbers when it comes to elections. So now the only thing that they have to do is to unite so that they come up strong. They should unite, they should negotiate with PF and come up with one candidate. And they should not be selfish, because it's not everyone who can be a president at once. So they should sit down and make an agreement so that they come up with one candidate and beat UPND. But if they choose to be selfish, it's going to be a landslide victory for HH. That's what I want to...
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalaba from Kitwe. Callers, we have Honorable Harry Kalaba here. Make your phone calls, ask him questions, and what are your contributions? We just wait for a few calls. Hello, caller. Okay, just wait for... Seems the caller is going. Probably the issues in Lusaka where lines are affected. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Bamunkonge ipusheni wangu tukwete wa Honorable Harry Kalaba.
Emkwai ni nde umfana mfe balera ndafyonse kwena tapali ofoni ngasoboro la mu mfya kwe batifita fili bwino lero linkwata amashiwi aya Harry Kalaba. Harry Kalaba mufire mu atotera tipyovu PF achaji SCL funa so serefi ngamwati mumone pali ino nchitofyo tuli ngachali chakwe batwali minister umo akwe batinaleka bu minister apangana party yakwe yamba nokubombeka ngakuti ayikala afuire aba mukali ati nombo murando akwe bati democracy chifure chabange fo chali so paru bali rwansambu bantu imwe mwo ba beneficiary yansambu pawuteko bafuminepo mumwe balingire mu abana ba ambassador akumona amafunde no muchitikisha afyo ore chitika because uteko nga bwakwimina ino fona ishiba machinery nango alikosa shani tibakupera omulando otawachitire nokakwa kuti wakakwa so nombo uteko usakamana ate tibufyenge omuntu napali ino nchitatule michita enjoy mulando wakwe bati democracy mwalimo yali tunturu sana oro chimbi imwe mwali kokola sana nakateko yulipo elyo te timusosi okwe bati imibere imbi tamwale imona obuteko mwalimo walisitire construct efe winga twala icharo pantanji lero kadalizim oko yali but kadalizim tayalitire distable yali ama plans ubuteko wabwapangire nokuyeshiba mwalishiba nga ni agriculture mining nango idea vision kwambira pali basata efyo vision yali ngiri okuba lero abanenso abakwisa pa buteko
Bamunkonge ipusheni question. As you can hear, there are so many calls in the background. Ipusheni question wangu.
Okay, Wakalaba ndefa murande popa murandu wa rule of law palino nsta. Ushe twa chitashani pamurandu wa mafunjo fo yalenda palino nsta.
Okay, thank you. Rule of law. Bala yasuka. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's pick some more calls. There are so many people calling. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello. Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Joseph. I'm calling you from the USA somewhere.
Please, Joseph, make your contributions.
Thank you. I want to thank Honorable Kalaba or President Kalaba for having come out the way he's come out, and he's really explained a lot of things. The question that I have for President Kalaba, because what we have right now is there is no opposition, truth be told, that can win an election on their own. And over the time, we've seen that President Kalaba has stood by himself, meaning he would want to go into an election by himself. My question to him, first of all, is he willing to work with another person or other political parties for the sake of unity and to bring victory to the Zambian people and kick out this government? Then secondly, what is your take on the composition of ECZ? Are you comfortable as a political party to go into an election of this nature with this particular composition of ECZ, with people who are really known to be UPND cadres? Are you comfortable to conduct an election in this manner? Then the last question, President Kalaba, is what is your take? What is your take on the issue, or especially the burial of our late president? Lastly, and not the least, the last one is President Kalaba, if you are given an opportunity to govern Zambia, what would be the first thing that you are going to do, first of all, to the judiciary and the parliament? I thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take the last two calls, then we allow Honorable Harry Kalaba to answer. Callers, we are hosting Honorable Harry Kalaba. Make your contribution. Let me take two calls, then we throw back to Honorable Harry Kalaba to respond. I love the question about the late president. I forgot to raise it. The former president, Bakili Muluzi, has withdrawn, his participation. He was one of those mediators in the background. Together with other leaders, I'm aware, like Jakaya Kikwete and others. So we'll ask Honorable Harry Kalaba to profile his opinion on the matter. I just noticed that the calls from Zambia keep on cutting, but let's see, we have a caller here. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Leo Ambassador. I'm calling you from South Africa.
Leo from South Africa, make your contributions.
Good evening, Honorable Harry Kalaba.
He can hear you.
I just wanted to say this. What kind of people did the youths make the deal with? Because these people are very, very incompetent. Because how can you be selling power like 500 megawatts, between 500 and 400 megawatts to South Africa, then 100 megawatts to Namibia, 50 to 100 megawatts to DRC Congo. Meanwhile, your country is in a blackout. How can you be selling food when you know your children don't have food? Is that thinking even right? Then my other question that I have for Mr. Harry Kalaba is that, is it possible that they can be able to add up something in the law that a politician, when he promises something and fails to fulfill it, he should be arrested indefinitely? Because this thing of promising, President Akainde had a deal with the youths. He promised the youths that he's going to give them the Black Mountain. Then he's going to bring in jobs. He's going to bring in so many things. And the youths went to go and vote for him, 05 a.m. They had to stay there, make sure he secures the position that he has today. Today, he doesn't even remember all those things. And today, they keep saying, Kwenyu to obviously just fool the people of the country. The other day, the Minister of Energy went mocking the people, saying, well, I'm now giving you 3 hours of electricity. Can you clap for me? What kind of a government is this? That's the only thing I wanted to say, Ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me take the last call, then we go to Honorable Harry Kalaba. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba, and good evening, President Harry Kalaba.
Thank you. We can hear you.
Zephania is my name. I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia. I have one question for President Kalaba. My question goes like this. President Kalaba, has the UPND now turned into an enemy of the every people, the very people it once claimed to liberate? Because what we are seeing today is frightening. The monster of Kadarism that President Hakainde Hichilema once sown, he had buried it, is now back, alive and thriving under his own watch. How safe are we as a nation going into the next general election when UPND cadres will be terrorizing citizens instead of protecting them? And why do we see jubilation and celebration among ruling party supporters each time violence or intimidation happens? Is this the new dawn the people were promised of, or have we simply replaced one form of oppression with another? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me bring in Honorable Harry Kalaba. Honorable Harry Kalaba, you have various questions. Maybe we start with the issue of the late president. We noticed from a detailed letter done by former President Bakili Munuzi, where he has given this role back, the role he has played as mediator in the background, back to the family and government of the Republic of Zambia. Last month, government of the Republic of Zambia appointed their own mediator in the name of Bishop H.K. Banda, Joshua Banda, and the family appointed Archbishop of Lusaka, Archbishop Dr. Alec Banda. Which seems, the entire process seems to have stalled. What are your thoughts about this?
To be truthful, Ambassador, I wouldn't even want to begin speculating here because I'm not privy really to the reasons that have led former President Bakili Munuzi to backpedal on him being an advisor or being a mediator between government and the Lungu family. I really would not be the best person really to answer that question. I think the best person to answer that question would be other people that have been involved in the same. All I can say is that we are yet to know, who understand the reasons more, when those who have got the facts to what has made the former president backpedal, when they come to the fore and tell us.
On the broad issue that the late president remained unburied 5 months after we lost him.
Well, that is very sad. I think today I was on Radio Chengelo and I was saying the same thing, that it is un-Zambian, it is disrespectful to say the least to the Lungu family. It is also not correct, even for President Lungu himself in death, a man that ruled this country for 7 years, to be kept in a South African mortuary for 5 months. This has never happened in Zambia. But it's because we have people in government, we have a leadership in this country, Mr. Hichilema in particular, who has said he has to attend that funeral. And if he doesn't attend it, then they have to be in court. That is very sad. I would have loved a situation where Mr. Hichilema would have been magnanimous for the sake of his brother. You can't be kicking somebody who has died. I mean, when someone dies, they have already surrendered. So it is not worth it for you to keep on flexing your muscles over somebody who has died. I don't think that's the way it should be. It would have been prudent for Mr. Hichilema to allow the Lungu family have a quiet send-off for that son of the soil in a dignified manner that the family sees fit. Ambassador, you will recall that, if my memory serves me right, Kapwepwe died in 1980. When Mr. Kapwepwe died, and they were burying him, Kuaguchinsali, The family had told Bakaunda, who was head of state then, that he should not speak at that funeral. Bakaunda tried to stand and he was advised to stop it. And Bakaunda gave respect to the family, because before you come to the public, Mr. Ambassador Mwamba, you come from a family. There are people who are responsible for you if anything tomorrow happened to you. There are people who are responsible for Harry Kalaba if something happens tomorrow. The citizens first will not say, no, he was our president, therefore we are going to take the terms of reference. What Levson Mumba, Honorable Levson Mumba, our national chairman, or what Comrade Chintu, our SGO, will do is to consult the family. How do we proceed now that this thing has happened? President Hichilema will lose nothing by him allowing the family to dispose of President Lungu. Let President Lungu be buried in dignity. If you a gun salute, you failed to give him the gun salute when he was alive. You didn't give him the gun salute when he was alive. Why do you want to give it to him in his coffin? I mean, give me a break. Let's allow President Lungu to rest. 5 months, everybody's asking us questions. What has become of Zambia? It's because we have a leadership that is incorrigible.
Thank you. Any thoughts to the other questions by the callers?
Well, I was not picking some questions, but I picked my... Yes, from America. I was talking about... And you know, Ambassador, what surprises me is that people don't pay attention to what happens. We have seen Honorable Kalaba has always been alone. That's a lie. That's a lie. It has never happened like that. We, as citizens first, started UKA together with other colleagues. And the UKA was not Harry Kalaba. UKA was a composition of over 13 political parties. Why would you want to believe that Harry Kalaba has always been alone and he wants to work alone? That's not the correct position. The correct position has been the CF has always sought unity. That is why, if you might want to know, sir, even when we should have fielded a candidate in Kawambwa, Ambassador, you are aware, yes, the citizens first withdrew its candidate to allow the PF-sponsored candidate to stand in Kawambwa out of unity. You recall, Ambassador, that in Mwansa-Bombwe by-election, the CF had to withdraw its candidature when rules of engagement by the Electoral Commission of Zambia were changed on account of wanting to block our PF. We withdrew. If those actions will not show you that you've been pursuing unity, then what will? And when you say, we have been seeing him alone there, we've been seeing him alone there, and here is what we are telling you, colleagues. Unity of weaker political parties coming together will not amalgamate into anything. What will help this country is for all of us to go out there, go and work. Once we work and we galvanize support, then we bring it to the table and say, for us as citizens first, this is what we have done. Our colleagues of PF, what have you brought? Our colleagues from these other parties, what have you brought? Vanan, what have you brought? Then we put our efforts together. Then we are going to be strong. It's not just a question of saying, we see him alone. Yes, you see me alone, because if I'm alone, because I'm president of a party, so I have to go out there in the field and work. But it is not that he doesn't want to work alone. And this issue of saying, work together, work together, work together, I want to tell you that forced marriages sometimes are very bad. We must be careful in this issue of just saying, work together, work together, work together. Working together is good, but let it be mutual, let it be natural. And I told you earlier on that united we stand, and that we as opposition political parties, our areas of convergence are much more. But we need to do our homework first before we even start talking of amalgamations. We need to do our homework first, because at the end of the day, it will be you from America again who will say, by opposition, there's no opposition in Zambia. There were 14 of them. They came together and they never won any election. But we have to be strong. We have to go out there and prove to the UPND that there's an opposition in this country. If there is no opposition in this country, why are they not distributing electoral materials to areas where they're afraid of losing? It's because they know that Indeed. There is an opposition, and that is why you have seen President Hichilema going all over the place.
Yeah, indeed. I remember between 2009 and 2011, the opposition faced the same question of unity. MMD had been in power for 20 years, and their candidate, Trupia Banda, was stabilizing the economy, was doing very well. The economy was doing very well. But there was fear that because UPND, I think, which had about 24 MPs, and PF, which had about 42 MPs, although it had expelled some, that the disunity would still allow MMD to sail through in the 2011 elections. And when the marriage, the so-called forced marriage as we are calling it, didn't work, Mr. Sata made the daring move and decided to go alone. There was distress in the country because people felt that Mr. Sata couldn't win the election alone without the alliance of UPND. He proved everyone wrong and he won elections. I hope that your Gambo is also informed. And like you are saying, let the unity be brought by bigger principles to save our nation. Honorable Harry Kalaba, let me invite you to begin to make your last remarks, and we conclude the program, because I'm aware that we are cross-broadcasting, especially on TV stations, so they don't have as much luxury time as we have on social media.
I want to give comfort to Excellency to our viewers and Zambians in general concerning the issues of unity. I want to tell you that the Citizens First is very committed to matters of unity. We are as worried as you are there. Sometimes when I go to bed and I'm thinking through events, I even shudder to imagine having Mr. Ichilema become president after 2026. The opposition you are seeing today, which they are saying is not there, will now obviously not be there. The Harry Kalaba you are speaking here, they will silence him once and for all. All these other leaders who are around, they'll silence them once and for all. Because Mr. Ichilema wants to be a life president. That's a fact. And so, I am as worried and as concerned as you. But that should not stop us from employing practical steps in ensuring that we consolidate our gains. That is critical. If we don't do that, we'll perish together. We as CF are very committed. But we must know, as Ambassador Mwamba has said, even in 2011 there were 10 political parties. Zambians naturally settled for a political party. In Malawi we saw how many parties were there. They settled for one. In 2021, where I stood as a presidential candidate, we were 16 contenders. Mr. Ichilema beat the ruling party. Out of 15 political parties which were from the opposition, 15 were from the opposition. Mr. Ichilema beat the ruling party because Zambians decided these others who won't look at them. We campaigned during that time. We went everywhere across the country selling our case. But Zambians said, Harry, not now. You will vote for you in 2026. The time has come now. That one which you said you will vote for in 2026, this is the time. So now, I came out third in the last election. This is the time for you to now make me be number one, together with my colleagues from the opposition that we work with. And already now, we are not alone now, Ambassador Mwamba. We are working with President Mwenya of NED is with us. We are working with President Saboyi Mboyela of NDC. We are working with President Chansa of RDC. We are working with our colleagues from NAREP. We are working with Dr. Jedaida. So we are not alone. We are working with about 5 political parties that have said we work with CF to form government. So the CF is not working alone. That assumption should be decimated. Finally, Ambassador, I want to tell Zambians that we are taking the responsibility of opposition very seriously. We will stand up to Mr. Ichilema and his dictatorial tendencies without fear of favor. It is okay. We have leaders that have gone and leaders have remained. We are going to represent the people of Zambia to the hilt. And those of our colleagues who have been incarcerated, those of our colleagues, like you, Ambassador, who has left the country because the condition is not favorable here, We want to assure you that we'll review all these cases once we form government. Zambians cannot just be imprisoned just for talking. Bamikaka. These things have to come to an end. We need unity. Above all, above everything, we need unity. There must be unity in diversity. And we as CF will make sure that that unity, the One Zambia, One Nation motto, is not only theoretical. It must be practical, because it is that which will take our country to the next level. Thank you for having me. And thank you for your time. And thank you all us who called on this program. Sincerely grateful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, President. Before you go, I've seen a lot of questions. You alluded to voter protection. Our followers seems to have liked that point. I think you need to emphasize there is fear that despite all your preparations, we might not have free and fair elections because of the state of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. And also, what we've seen in the recent by-elections, some you have participated where sometimes violence is unleashed by the ruling party just, at the night of elections, and the observers or party agents are chased. There are a lot of concerns that the ECZ might not deliver a free and fair election, and the conduct of the ruling party may not allow probably a stolen vote where the opposition have won, but that vote is stolen. Just speak to what you talked about, voter protection and what can be done.
We understand, first of all, even before I say I talk on voter protection, or vote protection, I want to tell our viewers out there, be rest assured, this battle is not a physical battle. This battle is spiritual. This is a spiritual battle. What is of the spirit is of the spirit. And nobody can stop what is spiritual, no matter the machinations. We are going to do what we can do physical. That is vote protection. And we in the Citizens First have already identified that we have these 12,164, I think, by polling stations. We need to ensure that we train polling agents in those 12,100 plus polling stations. It's the only way, so that even if it is one vote I have received from Dundu Mwezi, that one vote must count. It must be given to me and not to anybody else. That can only happen when we have vote protection, and we'll do that. For the Electoral Commission of Zambia, we have said this as CF, and we'll say it again. We have people at the ECZ, with due respect to the Commissioner, Madam Zalomes, with due respect to Commissioner Chipenzi McDonald. These people already showed the whole world, they already showed the whole country their background, that for us we are coming from this background. Some were even trying to aspire as members of parliament on the UPND ticket. And instead of taking them elsewhere, they bring them to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Never in the history of this country have we had an Electoral Commission of Zambia that has been composed of UPND affiliated people than we have now. And that is the problem that we have. And Mr. Ichilema is comfortable with that. We have written to him complaining that this is not correct. Can we have an Electoral Commission of Zambia that is going to reflect the will of the people when people vote the elections? Now, we are going to continue pushing this. I didn't want to say this. Maybe I should not even say it on TV, because the process is still ongoing with what we are trying to do with the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We are going to ensure that we have a free and fair election in our own space. We are going to take on the ECZ because it is the Electoral Commission of Zambia of 1991 that made power shift. It is the Electoral Commission of Zambia of 2011 that made power shift. It is the ECZ, which the UPND was very much against, which showed them that they were clean, free from all these things, and they delivered. Now, this ECZ wants to forget its own history. Will help them to remember that the job of the Electoral Commission of Zambia is to dispense the will of the people, not anybody's will, but the will of the Zambian people, and they will do just that. Remember, Ambassador, this is a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual battle, not physical.
Powerful ending there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're hosting Honorable Harry Kalaba, Citizen First leader and president. And Honorable Harry Kalaba, I'd like to thank you for coming. I invite you again when you have any issue. This is your home, this is your platform. Reach our people through this platform. And thank you for all your thoughts. To our dear listeners and callers, I can see you are still calling. I'm so sorry, because there was an arrangement made that we are also live on ordinary TV. So we'll give space to that. Thank you, Honorable Harry Kalaba, and God bless you. God bless you.
Varia who wanted to disturb us in Chungola yesterday, I hear they are planning to disturb the polling station Ninshi Kulefyo Balefwaya. Kulefyo Balefwaya. When we won, I told you not to revenge, not to beat anybody. Bafile bale chindika. Bale chindika. Mule umpaka? Bafile bale stashani? We protected them because you would have nailed them, eh? You could have nailed them. I protected them. They must not extend their lucky.
Nomba mwiza kama na mayo, mwiza kama na tata. Harry Kalaba, fyonse mwewa kakontolola. Iseni timu botele, fyonse mwewa kakontolola. Mababa mbibali filwa Harry Kalaba so tungulule Zambia. 26 tulefoya no kwangala. Tulefoya kateka wamano Harry Kalaba. Fyonse ni nyu, 2026 tulefoya no kwangala. Tulefoya kateka na vision di Harry Kalaba. Fyonse ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. CF ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. President ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. MP ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. Kansojea ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. Kansela ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. Ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. Fyonse be ni nyu, fyonse ni nyu. Ifila yobala ile vena Zambia bali firo kubomba. Ifila yobala ile ababambi bali firo kubomba. Awe bonse twali mona, ila ifi yalikosa. Mwewe bonse twali mona, ifintu byalikosa. Moneni loti shetting yabena Zambia imwe bachula. Moneni dola ikwele nako feta imwela. Moneni akabunga itakabwela. Moneni fiwe o ikwele nako feta imwela. Fertilizer na ena awe taimoneka. Apa fyonse ni nyuma na mayo. Apa fyonse ni nyuma. Apa fyonse ni nyuma shitata. Apa fyonse ni nyuma. Walumendo na makashana. Apa fyonse